Hello, this is Kevin Smith of Scholarly Changeworks. Today, I would like to talk with you a little bit about grief and the grieving process, and in particular, why grief is hard. Now, just to fill you in and let you know a little bit about myself, I have been working with Renaissance festivals at different festivals, different shops, for the past 13 and a half years. And in that time, I have met so many amazing people. I have made great friends and acquaintances, and 2017 has been a really rough year for those of us in this community. We're halfway through the second quarter of 2017, and we've already lost a bunch of people. Too many people before their time and in ways that were not fitting them. And the community as a whole is grieving. And the people in particular are grieving. And for myself, I grieve for several of the people that I have known. One of them in particular, who is a friend that I have known almost as long as I've been working Renaissance festivals. And yeah, grieving. It's hard. It sucks. There's different models of grieving. You have, the 5 stages of grief with the denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally acceptance. And when people talk about the stages of grief, they oftentimes talk about them like it's a sequential 1, 2, boom. A plus B plus C equals A, acceptance. But let's just clarify some things. That process going from denial all the way to acceptance is not it's not just a step-by-step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clean kind of process. It's hard, it's dirty, it's messy, it's ugly. And so when you find yourself in a particular stage of grief, realize that it's okay if you're back in another stage of grief. When I first heard about this friend of mine, this one in particular, the one that has affected me and the one that I will be discussing now, at first it was all about, I was in denial, and I went through the day kind of in just a zombie state of shock, and everything was changed, and it was hard. It's like Dr. Peterson says, you put an animal into a new environment, and the thing that they tend to do instinctively is to freeze, because everything's different, and what's different is unknown, and what's unknown can be dangerous. And particularly in our past, and in most animals present, when you don't know what's going on, don't know where you are, like the unknown really is dangerous. So going through that first stage of denial is because it's easier to just deny than to accept that things are as drastically different than how they were before. That to realize that everything is different. Because this one thing is different, it makes everything different. And throughout that day, from the right around noon, I guess it was when I heard, and I went through that day, I kept going back and forth through these stages of grief, and in really rapid succession. And not just 1, 2, 3, but going from that feeling of acceptance on some logical level, yes, okay, this is how it is, and that acceptance, to bargaining, and like, why couldn't it be, if only just, and all these other types of negotiation strategies, to anger at the person, to anger at the people around that person, to anger with myself, to anger with everything, to anger with the universe for being so unfair and so unjust, to going back to denial and not being able to parse this knowledge and this information. And it was it's the most recent experience that I've had that really demonstrates to me that it is okay to experience grief in your own way. Because I'm not done grieving. And just because it's been a couple of months, month and a half, or really about a month, it doesn't mean that I'm now done and past these stages of grief. I'm going to visit these stages of grief over and over again until I start to find that new normal. And so I would encourage you, I would encourage the people in my community, and also to you viewing this video, who doesn't have any other real connection to me or to this community or to the people that have been lost this year so far. But when you experience your own grief, just know that it is okay to experience grief as you experience it. And for whatever stage you find yourself in, that is legitimate. And experience that stage. Experience it as deeply and as fully as you can stand. Because grieving is hard. The whole process is hard. And if you find yourself not being the person who has experienced a loss and is going through this process of grieving currently, but you are seeing someone, that you are encountering someone who is going through this process of grief, I would encourage you to allow them to have the space. They don't need your advice. They don't need your explanation. They don't need any admonition of, oh, it was all for the better, or any of that stupid shit that people say. Just be there and allow them to go through the experience that they need to go through. And just understand and realize, and just be accepting of the fact that everybody ugly cries. Everybody ugly cries. And grieving is hard. So be there for others and look and search others out. If you need to find friends, if you need to find family, somebody who can just listen and hold that space for you. If you need to see a grief counselor or some other professional, take care of yourself. Because only by taking care of yourself can you be at your highest good, at your highest excellence. Be well.